Someone is asking, Coach, I'm always tempted to withdraw every money that I save and then I start all over again. How can I stop this habit? Welcome to A Word from the Coach. If this is the first time for you to be here, please take a moment and subscribe to this YouTube channel. There's plenty happening here. Please give this video a like, share it with someone else. Drop us a comment. If you have another question, drop it in the comment section or send it through my various inboxes, and I'll be glad to do another Word from the Coach video in response to the same. All right, so this person is asking, what can he or she do to stop the habit of breaking into the savings account? Because every time they begin to save, they find themselves breaking into the account, using the money, and then starting all over again. Let me begin by commending this person for recognizing the importance of savings in the whole script of wealth creation. And there is a video I have done here on the process of wealth creation. If you haven't watched it, then you might need to take a moment and watch it to appreciate the process of wealth creation and how savings plugs into it. So this person acknowledges the role of savings, and I bet that is why it is disturbing him or her that every time they begin to save, they find themselves being tempted to break into the account, to use the money and start all over again. So in other words, they are mark timing. Okay, they're moving forward, they're moving backwards. Therefore, they're in the same spot, more or less, after a while. The first thing that is hitting my mind is, what could be making you to break into your savings account? What is it that might be contributing? What is it that might be causing you to break into your savings account? And a few things come to my mind. Number one could be lack of discipline. We have said discipline is your ability to suppress diversionary desires. Maybe you lack discipline. You're not able to say no where no is due. Number two, blind saving. Blind saving is where you save without knowing why you are saving. You are saving without a goal. You are saving without a purpose. You're just saving because you heard people say it is a good thing to save. In fact, majority of the savers are actually blind savers. They don't have a target they are headed towards. And even if they have a target, it's not very clear. And therefore, they're just saving. That's how you find people saving any amount that they deem fit at a particular time. So today they will save 1,000, tomorrow they'll save 200, another day they will skip, because their saving pattern is not driven by the purpose. If you do purpose-driven saving, then you identify why you want to save, then you allow that purpose to direct you in terms of how much you get to save, when, and how. If you save blindly, any temptation coming your way will sway you, and you easily find yourself wanting to use that money. Number three, maybe you are also saving in a tempting place, a place that is easy for your hands to touch. We have different discipline levels. There is someone who can save money in their house and they can stay with that money for the whole year, regardless of what comes or what happens into their lives. But there is another person, if they saved their money in a place that their hand can be able to access, then there is very high risk that they will get to use that money at the slightest provocation. So maybe you are one of those people who, when you know you have some money somewhere that your hand can get to, then any temptation coming your way, you cannot resist. Number four thing that comes to my head that might be causing you to get into that habit of breaking into your savings account is spending without a plan, or poor planning. If you spend your money without a plan, chances are very high that you end up spending that money on things that are not urgent, are not important. Or even if those things are important, you might end up spending money in proportions that are bigger than your income can handle. But because you're not doing it in a planned way, you're not sitting down to, draw a plan and say, this is how I want to spend my money, then you find yourself running into a crisis every so often. And therefore, when you find yourself in a crisis, you remember that you have something you have put aside. That's how then you find your hand going to break into that kitty so that you can use it to come and meet the deficits that are created this other side. Number 5, you might also be facing income constraints. Maybe you are forcing yourself to save a certain amount of money, but the income that you have, if you were to look at it and look at your mandatory expenditure items, then maybe that income is struggling. And that might mean that you're squeezing more from it to be saved and leaving yourself with very little to take care of your recurrent expenses. You see, all these things must be done in a balanced way. You have to also think about what your day-to-day expenses look like. You know, I have met cases where some people will save the entire income and then they start feeling very bad that they have to find money to pay rent, to find money to buy food. I have met cases where some people even go to borrow money. So if you will not go and borrow money, you will definitely break into your savings account. So you might need to sit down and look at your income and see whether indeed it can support the kind of saving that you are doing. So what would be the way forward? And the way forward would be addressing these 5 things that I've just mentioned. Number 1, you might need to work on your discipline. You might need to learn to say no where no is due. I have said time and again that in the world of money, you cannot go far being a yes person. You can't please everyone. You can't say yes to everything. Learn to say no where no is due. Now that will help you be able to deal with spending money on things that maybe you are not ready for at this particular time. You see, if your discipline level is down, any proposal coming your way from your friends or from whichever other source leads you into yielding. You know, it forces you to say yes, forces you to commit yourself, even when you do not have the ability to do so. You may also need to learn to run away from circumstances that tempt you. If you realize, for instance, that every time you watch a football match with your phone, you are tempted to place a bet. And if you do not have money to place the bet, you find yourself breaking into your savings account. You might want next time to watch matches without your phone. So flee from any activity that pushes you into that temptation. Some of us get excited when we are in a group of people and we want to show them that we are very generous, we are Father Christmases, we can be able to sponsor everyone and so on. So if you realize that such kind of tendencies are the ones that have been pushing you into breaking into your savings account, you might want to start avoiding such situations so that then you can be able to protect your savings. Number 2, you will need to embrace purpose-driven saving. You are most likely going to go far if you know why you want to save. Then you allow that particular reason to dictate every other decision around your savings. That particular reason, for example, will dictate the amount of money that needs to be set aside every season. Let's say, for example, you have the intention of purchasing something 12 months from now. And that particular something costs 60,000 shillings or will cost you about 60,000 shillings. Then, therefore, that tells you that for you to be able to hit that particular target, you have to be putting aside 5,000 shillings every month. Now, if you're driven by that particular purpose, if that goal is always in front of your eyes, then if you want to break into that account, you will remember that then you will not be able to meet that particular objective when that time comes, the time that you set to be able to achieve that particular objective. So you might want to start working with goals. Don't just save blindly. Save knowing that I'm saving so that by this particular time I can be able to do 1 or 2 other things. When you know why you are saving and the why is very strong, then you have better chances of succeeding in saving. And indeed in any other thing in the world of money and in life generally. Number 3, you will also need to start saving your money in a place that is less tempting. If you realize that you have been breaking into your account because your account is accessible, or where you save the money is a place that you easily access, you might want then to change where you are keeping your money so that your savings are protected. There are people who are saving money in their houses. They have piggy banks, those boxes where they drop money. Some of them have taken jerry cans and they drop money there. Yet at the same time, these are the kinds of people who say they cannot spend a night in the same house with money. So if you're that kind of person, then you might want to start saving your money elsewhere, in a place that is at least limiting. When you want to access the money, the procedure is a bit long, and that particular procedure begins to inhibit or prohibit you from accessing the money to use it probably on things that are not even very important. You might want, if you are saving your money in the bank, you might want to open a savings specific account. And many banks have got saving specific accounts that have got certain restrictions. For example, they may not give you an ATM card, a debit card. They may not give you access to mobile banking, so that you don't have quick access to that account. They may also restrict you on the number of times you can withdraw money free of charge. And if you withdraw more than that particular time, then there are penalties. Maybe you will forfeit interest, or maybe you will be charged some big charge for withdrawing money more than the times prescribed within a particular period of time. You can also choose to save the money in SACCOs, depending on the purpose for which you're saving. You can save your money in money market funds, so that while it stays there, it's also earning something. And that will also be able to cushion you in two ways. It's cushioning you against the tendency of reaching and breaking anytime you want, but it's also cushioning you against inflation, because it is also earning something. Number 4, you will also need to start planning your expenditure well, so that you can minimize running into crisis. I said one of the things that might be pushing you into that tendency of breaking in your savings account is lack of proper planning, especially for your expenditure. And chances are very high you end up maybe saving more than your income can be able to sustain, or you end up spending on things that are not important, and therefore you have a lot of wastefulness. You have a lot of leakages in your system. So you might want to start doing proper planning. Sit down before your money comes and plan how you will use it. Budget and say, I'm expecting amount X. When the amount comes, I am planning to use it this way, this other way, and this other way. That will help you to minimize that tendency. And lastly, number 5, if you're breaking into that account because of income challenges, then you might need to focus on increasing your income. You see, when you start having additional income, it will cushion you from the temptation to break into your income. So think about how else you can make another coin. Many times we have said reliance on one source of income is catastrophic. And therefore, you might want to just think about what else can you do? What can you do during your spare time? What can you do, over the weekend, in the evenings? Is there something else you can do? Can you monetize your other interests? Do you have any other interests, any other gifts, any other talents that you can monetize? Do you have skills that you can monetize? Is there another skill you can learn so that you can be able to utilize your free time to get another coin, and so on? But just focus on how else you can get another coin. Then those things that would have forced you to break into your account will not force you to break into that account. Good people, I hope this video has helped you. Please subscribe to this channel, drop us a like, share it with someone else, so that we can also loop in several other people even as we continue learning. See you in the next You Can Do Better.